We're gonna go live early. I said it for 9:05, but we're gonna go live now. And what I'm gonna try to do is read a comment, respond to that comment, and then talk about this whole Deontay Wilder, Tyson Fury fallout. But in the meantime, what I am gonna try to do is see if I can tag this video. If I can't, then I'll be back. Um, so hopefully y'all can still hear me right now because I have this pushed to the background. So what I'm trying to see is if this is actually showing because I don't think it is. And if it is not showing, then it's not going to let me tag it. So we're going to be doing a video without any tags. And it really sucks because you get no foot traffic. But that is okay because either way, I am not live now and I will continue to be live. Nope, it is not going to allow me to see my video that I'm currently live on. Let me actually try like this. Let's try this. Let's try like this. Let's see if I click on this. One, two, three. Nope, that killed it. Hold on. I promise this. So let me do this. Let's turn the cam off. We're going to do this real fast. All right, now that that portion's over, we're going to come back here. So what I'm going to try to do is I'm going to try to bring up this comment real fast that is submarine left and read it. Hopefully, I can actually do that without it kicking me off the mic like it just did. All right, testing one, two, three. If you can hear me, moderator, let me know. Hit in the chat, say that you can still hear me right now. Write the number 6 if you can hear me. Write the number 6 if you can hear me, so I can read this and then respond to it and then get into the video itself. What's going on, LaRon? How you doing? Again, I'm flipping back over here. If you can hear me, write the number 6. 6, 6. Not that many because it's a bad number, but just write the number 6. Okay, cool. All right, I'm flipping back over to read this comment. All right, so here we go. This is what Andrew, one of my subs, wrote to me. It's very long, and the best way to respond to this was to do it in a live versus trying to go back and forth and type this up. So what he said was, I haven't watched the whole video yet, but I already understand what you wanted to say. Wilder is not a bum, and he has everything to remain in the top and fight the top heavyweights. And I agree. He was dangerous for the whole time, even in the round 10. He ceased to be dangerous only after the clear KO win by Tyson Fury and no second earlier. So as far as that goes, let's jump back over. We're going to go that first paragraph first. What's going on? Tyson Fury will beat the shit out of Anthony Joshua. But moving past that, coming back to his first section, I do agree with that. I do agree because I was on UGC Flame, I think. I was over on his channel, right? And the question was asked, should Malik Scott have thrown in the towel to stop the Deontay Wilder Tyson Fury 3 fight? And I said, fuck no. Because if you watch the fight in the 10th round of the Deontay Wilder came on and he damn near dropped Fury in the end of that 10th round. Like he had him hurt. He had him wobbled. Um, so I don't believe the towel should have came in. Yes, he took a lot of unnecessary punishment, but at the end of the day, he remained dangerous and he was still fighting back. It wasn't so one-sided to where he wasn't throwing shots back. Yes, it was a one-sided beating because he really wasn't getting his shots delivered and getting them off like they should have been. But at no point in time did I feel like that he was unable to defend himself or fight back. Whether he was accurate with fighting back or not is irrelevant. That's a whole different argument. But the point is, in the 7th round of this fight, it looked just as bad as the 7th round when the towel came in. It looked just as bad. We go on 3 rounds past that into the 10th round, and he damn near floors Tyson Fury again. So, yes, I agree with that comment right there that he did remain dangerous to the very end till he got put to sleep. So, going past that, he said, by the way, Tyson Fury has shown Joshua how he has to fight too. Do you notice how everything has changed? Before the year of 2020, Tyson Fury was viewed as a fighter who works on the scorecards and overplays his opponent using speed and technique. That was exactly what he tried to do in the first fight with Wilder. Joshua, before the rematch with Ruiz, was known as a big puncher and finisher who hits opponents like a track. I think he meant it right, like a truck, and is not afraid to rumble. But what do we have now? Now Fury is an extremely heavy 280 pounds fighter who knocks the punchers like Wilder out, when Joshua is an Olympic style light heavyweight who tries, because he lost his weight, who tries to stay on distance and win as safely as possible. An interesting metamorphosis, isn't it? He wrote, I am not surprised Joshua keeps losing when Fury continues winning with drama and epic. If Joshua wants to be back on winning line, he should return to his basics immediately. Otherwise, he will probably never wear any belts. I am not even mentioning Usyk. Joshua wanted to fight Fury, didn't him? I think he meant didn't he? But how does he fight to hurt Fury being so tall and so light? If Tyson successfully survives even punches by Wilder, the current version of Joshua would never really had a chance against Fury. The same with Usyk. To box with him in an Olympic style is a stupid decision, or the stupidest decision ever. Defeating Usyk is possible only if you fight like professional, hard punching heavyweight with a lot of aggression, combinations, and dirty tactics. I really do hope Joshua comes back to that. So let's flip back over and discuss those 3 paragraphs real fast. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. I agree with what he's saying. So whenever Tyson Fury fought Deontay Wilder the first time, he was only 200, I think, 54 pounds, 255. He was in his 250s. He may have been lighter at 252. I don't know. He was somewhere in his 250s, low 250s. So he was in his low 250s whenever he fought Deontay Wilder the first time, right? And what did we see? We saw him damn near get put to sleep. It took an act of the boxing gods to wake him up and for him to get off the canvas in the 12th round, okay? Now, going into the rematch, what did we see? We saw Tyson Fury come in at 273, I think. He came in at 273, right? And he beat the brakes off of Wilder. Came in bigger. Now, Wilder also came in bigger, but it was all the leaning on top of him, the quick weight gain. You could tell that Wilder's body was not acclimated to being 230 pounds. On top of that, he had a heavier Fury weighing him down. It was just a one-sided beating. Now, we fast forward 18 months, 20 months. I'm sorry, 20 months. We fast forward 20 months, and we get the trilogy. Now, Tyson Fury comes in heavier again at 277. So now he's gained 4 more pounds. Deontay Wilder gained 7 pounds coming in at 238. Now, the thing about this is Tyson Fury had a feeling that Wilder was going to come in heavy or heavier. So what did he do? He put on more weight to keep the weight advantage, to try to have the biggest advantage in size that he could over Deontay Wilder, who he knew was going to come in bigger. So that's what he did. That's what he implemented. On the flip side to that, what he's saying is Anthony Joshua, whenever he got his loss to Andrew Ruiz, which I've talked about before, which was the stupidest thing in the world, he decided to lose weight. Now, I have been saying it video after video after video, panel after panel after panel, when I saw Ruiz too. I was like, Anthony Joshua does not look the same when it comes to power. I watched Anthony Joshua in the first Ruiz fight drop Ruiz with the first clean shot he landed, put him straight on his ass. A guy who had never been floored before, he floored him, put his on his ass with the first clean shot. Going into the rematch, AJ loses all this weight. He goes in there against Ruiz for 12 rounds. He outboxes this dude with ease, hitting him at will. It looked like he was punching a punching bag or a double-end bag. No challenge at all. Outclassed him, beat him easily. All right. Now, did AJ hurt Ruiz once? in all those shots? No, he couldn't even knock the sweat off of Ruiz's head. That was the first time where I was like, I'm not seeing the power. Then we go to the next fight where he fights Pulev. He got the knockout, but that's not the story of the fight. See, people who don't understand boxing, who don't know boxing, they just hear a knockout or they see a knockout. And they're like, oh, he can hit with power. But what they don't look at is the history of the fighter and what he has done to other fighters in the past with the same type of selected punches, right? His punch selection. What has he done when he has landed the uppercuts to guys? What has he done whenever he's caught guys with 1-2? What has he done when he caught guy with uppercuts and they hit him with a hook after it? What has he done with these punches? When I saw him fight Pulev, I watched Pulev walk through 5 to 7 uppercuts in a row and not even bat an eye. Keep coming forward. Now, mind you, this is a 40-plus Pulev who hadn't fought a top 10 fighter since he fought Klitschko. Now, Pulev took everything Joshua had. Yes, he eventually got knocked out, but we saw Joshua land shots that normally would put people on their ass. And Pulev ate him until his age kept caught up and he got weathered down. He got beat down. That's all it was. But it wasn't the same type of power that we're used to seeing AJ do. So I knew that this change of style was not conducive to a Usyk fight, a guy who, like he said, he could box. Why would you ever fight an amateur style fighting, Olympic amateur style fighting against Usyk? I see you in there, Andrew. What's going on, Mark Anthony? What's going on, LeBron? I'll read all these comments in just a second. I'm just trying to respond to this comment I'm reading, then I'll come back to the chat, guys. So then you put AJ in there, smaller, lighter. Meanwhile, if weight is such a bad thing, then answer me this. How is it that Tyson Fury puts on 30-plus pounds, looks better against Deontay Wilder both times than he did in the first fight? How is it that Deontay Wilder puts on more weight going into the trilogy and looks better than he did in the rematch? How is it that Usyk puts on more weight? Okay, Usyk gains a tremendous amount of weight to fight AJ and beats the fucking brakes off of him. Meanwhile, the only guy who was chose to lose weight was AJ and looked horrible against Usyk, losing that weight. It caught up. Why? Because you don't take off weight when it affects your power. See, the thing about it is, I knew Usyk has a granite chin. I've never seen him hurt. I have never seen him hurt. In fact, when he fought AJ, it's the first time I ever saw him hurt, and it was from a body shot. Not a punch to the head. But imagine this. If AJ would have been about 10 pounds to 12, 13 pounds heavier, when he caught Usyk in the body, he may have dropped his ass because he would have had a lot more power. But the thing about it is they stripped him of what AJ made and what made AJ great. So I agree with this comment that it's funny how AJ has gone to this Olympic style of boxing and Fury has become the bruiser. He went over to Sugar Hill to learn how to plant his feet, learn how to deliver punches, learn how to put more impact for each blow. And it is reflected. Now, moving past that, let me read his last paragraph, last 2 paragraphs, and we'll get into the chat. And he said, I really hope Joshua comes back to that. That was the last paragraph I read. Now starting with the new. And Wilder, I don't truly believe it's the new beginning for him. He was knocked out twice by the same guy. And when he becomes able to fight for the belts again, he will be 37 to 38 outwards. But improvement in Wilder's technique is hard not to notice. He becomes better in the late age, and that is an amazing fact for him. I wish him all good luck. He is one of the most charismatic, I can't talk, fighters in decades. Woo! Seems I said everything. Would be happy to read your response. Instead of reading it, well, I read it aloud, but instead of typing back, here I am discussing. So here's what I will say about Wilder's age. And I want to say this because nobody's bringing this up, okay? It took Tyson Fury 11 rounds to stop Deontay Wilder, like you said in the paragraphs that you wrote me in your comment, right? It took him 11 rounds. However, Fury damn near got dropped in the 10th round against a beat-up Deontay Wilder, against a guy that people say was gassed, was exhausted after the 3rd round. That's what people are saying. However, this gas-exhausted fighter put Fury down twice in the 4th after he was gassed and exhausted. He put him down twice in the 4th and damn near dropped his ass in the 10th round. A gassed, exhausted guy, beat up, as long as he was beat up, it took 11 rounds to get him out of there, okay? When clearly Fury was dominating the fight from the 5th to the 10th round. I don't know. Fury had it. Wilder had his moment in the 9th round towards the end, but really he didn't have another moment till the 10th round, in my opinion. A good moment. Now, here's what I've got to look at. AJ damn near got knocked out by a cruiserweight in the 12th round of his last fight. Damn near got knocked out by Usyk. And Usyk can punch nowhere near as hard as Tyson Fury, nor does he have the weight, nor does, in my opinion, Usyk is a very good cruiserweight technical boxer. But when it comes to heavyweights, in my opinion, nobody is more technical, nobody is more skilled than Tyson Fury, because for Tyson to Fury be 6'9", 277 pounds and move the way he does, nobody can do that. Now, the one thing that you hear people saying is this wasn't Fury's best performance. He didn't look all that good. His defense was lacking. And here's the question that nobody is asking. Well, could it be that Deontay Wilder just came in better and made Fury look bad? Could it be that how Deontay Wilder approached this fight and how he actually fought back and the strength that he gained from the added weight made Tyson Fury look bad? No, nobody says that. It just has to automatically be Fury just looked bad. Like the guy standing in front of him didn't do anything, when clearly he did, because he dropped his ass twice. So here's what I'm coming full circle to say. Let's just say it takes AJ 11 rounds to knock out Deontay Wilder at the pace that Fury and Wilder was going at. Could AJ keep up with the pace? Would AJ get tired? More tired than a Deontay Wilder, who it doesn't matter if he's a walking zombie. He can be Night of the Living Dead and he's still coming for you. He's coming for your brain. That's all he knows. It's like Plants vs. Zombies. He just brain. And when he gets close enough to you, he starts letting his hands go. He's trying to eat all your flowers, take over your garden. That's what he's doing. When Anthony Joshua gets tired, what does he do? He shells up and just gets hit. He doesn't fight back. So again, I made the statement at the end of my video that I believe this Deontay Wilder I saw fight Tyson Fury would have beat Anthony Joshua. I don't care about what they say, what they do in and out of the, I don't care what they do out of the ring. All I judge these guys off of is what I see in the ring, and that's why my predictions are so fucking high and so good. My real official predictions is 71 correct, 9 wrong, and we won't even say how many unofficial I have got correct. 71 correct, 9 wrong. My new one that's on the playlist is 2-0. 2-0. I judge these guys off of what I see them do good, what I see them do bad, what they have, what it takes, what they're made of. And I can tell you this. When it comes to drive and heart, Anthony Joshua doesn't have that same type of drive. He doesn't have that same type of heart. He will not fight through adversity like I just saw Deontay Wilder do, regardless if he got knocked the fuck out or not. I'm just telling you, AJ's not built like that. AJ is great when he is dominating. He is horrible when he can't. He is great when he can have his way with you. He looks like $1,000,000, but the minute things don't go his way, they don't go his way at all. And the thing about it is what I don't understand, and I'm not trying to shit on Anthony Joshua, because Anthony Joshua is a very good fighter. He has fought mandatory after mandatory after mandatory. He has done everything that you want from a champion. When he has lost, he's made no excuses, and he jumps back in there with the guy that beat him to try to get the win back. All the credit in the world. I'm taking nothing away from Anthony Joshua, but what I do not understand is, and I'm about to read the chat. I'm about to go down the chat in just a second after I say this. What I don't understand is people are begging and asking for Deontay Wilder to retire when, just like Anthony Joshua, he has 2 losses. But the biggest difference in between Deontay Wilder and Anthony Joshua's losses are Deontay Wilder lost twice to the best guy in boxing, period. The heavyweight is the best guy in boxing. I don't give a fuck about a welterweight. I don't care about Terrence Crawford. Pound for pound, he can be the best. But if Terrence Crawford got in a fight with the heavyweight champion, which is Tyson Fury, he'd get his fucking ass whooped. The king of boxing is the heavyweight. Has always been the heavyweight, and it will always be the heavyweight. And if a cruiserweight moves up, maybe because they're close enough in size. But the king is the heavyweight champion. And Wilder has lost to the best guy in boxing twice. Only lost to one person. Anthony Joshua, on the flip side, lost to a fucking hot dog worker and Andrew Ruiz Jr., a fat boy, and then lost to a cruiserweight. So my question is this: how can you want Deontay Wilder to retire because he got beat by the best heavyweight when people want AJ to continue on and he got beat by a fat guy in a cruiserweight? What loss is worse? In my opinion, losing to a fat guy in a cruiserweight is way worse than losing to Tyson Fury. I don't care if you get outboxed or knocked out. You're supposed to. He's the best. Tyson Fury is on top. And until he is beat, he will be the best and remain the best. And there is no shame in losing to the best guy out there. But what is a shameful thing is when you lose to a guy who doesn't even belong there. Because Usyk didn't start there. Usyk moved up. Ruiz, we saw how bad he looked in his last fight. We saw him get knocked all over the place. Now, let me read these comments. And again, I am not trying to shit on Anthony Joshua. What I'm saying is I do not understand how people are saying that Deontay Wilder needs to retire and Anthony Joshua doesn't. Because if Deontay Wilder needs to retire, then fucking AJ needs to hang up the gloves too. And we'll get to the age after I read these comments. So let me go back up. I know a lot of people aren't going to like what I'm saying. And I know a lot of people have subbed to my channel because I've shitted on Deontay Wilder and his lack of boxing ability. But what I'm not going to do is shit on the guy when I see improvements. What I'm not going to do is cater to people who sub to my channel that don't go with my ideals. What I think. That's all I stand by is what I think. I don't sway for anybody. I just say how I feel, and people can agree or disagree, and it is what it is. But at the end of the day, I still feel like the Deontay Wilder I saw in there with Tyson Fury on Saturday night would beat Anthony Joshua of today. The Anthony Joshua that fight Usyk would have lost to that Deontay Wilder, in my opinion. Now, let me read these comments. Tyson versus AJ, I already answered that. I said Tyson Fury beats the brakes off of him. I thought Deontay Wilder in the fight. I thought Deontay Wilder was in the fight till the 10th, but Tyson knew it. That's why he took him into deep waters. It could have been a strategy to drag the fight on. I don't know if it was me, but Wilder's right looked extra slow. So, LaRon, you think the weight made him slow? And then I'll get into that in just a minute. You're welcome, Andrew, for bringing it up. I heard you say that the punches Tyson was laying on Fury sapped Wilder's energy more than his conditioning. I agree with that notion. Live, what's up, fat boy? That's why we're in the t-shirt. We're hiding the fat. Agree with everything you say. AJ is not a real puncher in a new weight. He can't really hurt his opponents, and without that ability, he becomes too safe for opponents. The problem is Joshua won a lot of fights, not due to his skill, but thanks to his physics. I agree 1,000%. He was a tank. After losing it, he ceases to be the unique boxer and becomes much more average. I agree with that 1,000%, Andrew. And that's why I always say AJ is a tank. And the one thing you do not do is you do not take the armor off of a tank before you go to battle. That's the dumbest thing in the world. If anything, you add more armor to the tank. You have to understand what a tank is. A tank isn't a fast-moving thing. Just because you take a fucking couple of plates off the tank doesn't mean all of a sudden it's going to turn into a Ferrari. No, it's still going to be a tank. It may move slightly faster. Instead of doing 40 miles per hour, you might get 50 miles per hour out of it, but it's still a tank. And once you take the armor off the tank, it's useless. You took the armor off of AJ, which also adds, in boxing terms, to power. Useless. And we saw it. He couldn't do nothing to Usyk. Let me see. Tony's reviews, good points. Fury refers to Ruiz as a fat piggy. You should know by now that these other channels are emotionally invested in these fighters, so they are biased. They are also not fighters, so they can't judge combat sports. And that's something I don't understand, Mark Anthony. What you just said, or Mark Anthony, Anthony, my bad, Mark Anthony. This is something I do not understand. Okay, it is clear as day that channels out there are very narrative based. They bring up narratives that are 90% of the time false, and they run with it for YouTube money, for views or super chats. That's all they do. And when these fake rumors are dispelled, they never come out and say anything about it. They just move on to the next rumor. I can't understand why channels like this have so many followings. Another thing I don't understand is you have people, like you said, who are very emotionally involved with these fighters, and then when they make their predictions, they're 95% of the time they're wrong. They don't even know what they're looking at. They can't. A lot of people, like even people who get it right, they'll be like, "Oh, I think this guy's going to win the fight." That's all they say. Or I think this guy's going to knock out that guy. And what they're doing is they're basing that off the evidence. But here's my question. How do you get to that conclusion? How can you state that this guy is going to beat that guy? What is he going to do? What does he do good that the other guy does bad, that what he's doing good will exploit the other guy's bad moves? There are very few channels out there that have huge followings that can do this. And I'm not trying to boost up myself, but that's one thing I try to do when I do these predictions. I try to break these shits down. And I told y'all in my last one with Fury versus Wilder, this is what's so crazy about it. I said my soul was thinking that Wilder would win, but my heart, excuse me, I pointed to my head, but my heart and my mind was going for Fury. And that's why I picked Fury to win, right? However, when I said if Wilder was to win, this is what I thought would happen. In the mid rounds, he would hurt Tyson Fury. And what did we see? At the middle, first, mid round, the fourth round, he floors his ass 2 fucking times. Again, just like whenever I was going over the channels, arguing with them, I even had somebody bet me $15,000. Now I know they didn't pay up, that Anthony Joshua was going to beat Usyk. Sure, take the bet because I know how this is going to play out. I know from what I have seen, AJ is not the same. Like Andrew was saying, he's not the same. He first thing he needs to do is kick McCracken to the curve. He's already had 2 losses. Usyk's a good fighter, but there's no reason why he should have beat AJ. And Andy Ruiz sure as hell shouldn't have beat AJ, but he has to blame himself. You can't blame the trainer for the Ruiz fight because he got sloppy. He hurt Ruiz, got reckless, tried to go for the knockdown, ran into a punch, couldn't recover. That was his fault. But here's the thing. Both those losses came underneath Rob McCracken. Rob McCracken was the genius that said, "Oh, AJ, you're too big. You need to get off the weights. Oh, you're doing this, you're doing that. It's making you tired." Well, here's the problem. Here's the problem, Rob. AJ is still getting tired. You still see him get tired without the extra weight. Here's the other problem, Rob. AJ is not much faster with the reduction in weight. But what he has, the little bit of speed that he has gained, does not amount to the amount of power that he has lost. His punch resistance since losing the weight has gone down. Everything that he has lost is much greater than what he has gained. So it is a stupid exchange. I'm not going to trade somebody 15. Let's just say I have 1 ounce of gold. Okay. I'm not going to give up my 1 ounce of gold for 15 ounces of copper. Yeah, I could exchange for that 15 ounces of copper and I get more pieces. But what do they amount to? Nothing. My 1 ounce of gold is greater than your 15 ounces of copper. So I'm not going to give up my gold. I'm not going to give up what's making me more valuable for stuff that's not as valuable. That's not going to improve me. If anything, it's going to reduce my abilities. So again, let me see. Let me read the comments. Damn, I didn't know people were calling on him to retire. Dumb talk. Yeah, they want Wilder to retire because he's been knocked out twice. I'm afraid Joshua will lose even more power/weight and try to box Usyk in the rematch on a bicycle. I would really It would be really bad if he boxed Usyk on a bicycle, because all that's going to happen is he's going to get tired before Usyk, and Usyk's so good technically compared to him that he's going to outbox him. He's going to cut the ring off, and AJ's not going to be fast enough to get away from Usyk, especially not on foot speed, and he'll just stay on top of him. The only way I see AJ beating Usyk is if he comes back in around 250, and he's been training for power. That's it. There's no other way. He can't outbox him. He sure as can't outbox him. He couldn't even adapt to the feints that Usyk was doing. He kept getting his head hit straight down the line. Tony's review correct. Anthony, I know. I had to reread it because in my mind I'm thinking Anthony, but I see Anthony. Like the Brits say Anthony Joshua's name. Anthony Joshua. Joshua's fight is a real disappointment in a sense. He didn't show the spirit both Fury and Wilder have shown. It was the most unmotivated. Well, here's the thing about it. Anthony Joshua, his spirit was in the 12th round. He tried to do his Muhammad Ali, and he was moving. Then after the bell rang, he stuck out his tongue. But not once did he throw shots back. Not once did he make the movement to win the fight. He was just surviving. That's surviving. That's not like you said, that's not being motivational. That's not pushing the pace of the fight. That's not trying to win the fight. That's just trying to get out the way of punches and survive in a fight that you were clearly getting outbeat, outboxed, dominated. You didn't even try to throw a counter punch back. You was just, and then stuck your tongue out, then collapsed on your stool. So I agree with you right there. Wilder showed way more heart, and so has Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury had to pick himself up twice. And like I said, he damn near got dropped in the 10th round. And then he came back. Every time Wilder had an advantage on Fury, Fury came back to negate it. He came back to do more. So they both really did. Because if you look at it like that, Wilder, first 2 rounds came out boxing great. Better than we've seen him box. Jabs to the body. I said this in my video. He was doing jabs to the body, jabs to the head. Straight to the body, straight to the head. Although his downfall was he did not change levels, and he only attacked the same way when he was attacking. So a guy like Fury, it only took him around in 75% of the second round to start picking up and honing in on how Wilder was attacking. Once he got Wilder's timing down, like I said, you will revert back to what you know best when you're back into a corner and Wilder started winging pretty much from the 5th round on. However, Tyson Fury dropped his ass in the 3rd, and Wilder responded by dropping Fury twice in the very next round. Fury came back on to respond to start taking over the fight. So I agree with that. I did not see, and I have not seen Joshua be able to display that portion like Wilder and Fury have. Now let me see. You bet 15 grand and won, and you didn't collect. It's impossible to collect over the internet, Anthony. It's impossible. You can't. It's not like we face to face. It's not like I can run up on somebody and be like, yo, give me my money. I just found it funny that this person who bet me $15,000, whenever I went there to talk to them, they tried to get loud and show off for their fan base whenever I was just coming in there to talk. And then they tried to tell me that I didn't know what I was talking about when I explained why AJ lost. They're going to tell me I don't know what I'm talking about, but yet I picked right and you picked wrong. And how I predicted the fight to go was exactly how it went. But yet I don't know what I'm talking about. Moving past that, Andrew Ruiz says, white boxers are naturally stronger. Fury is the best boxer alive today. Maybe, possibly. I don't know. Normally, if you look at athletics, normally strength sports are like, if you look at like weightlifting, powerlifting, bodybuilding. Well, I mean, you had Ronnie Coleman, but the majority of the people, well, Phil Heath won a lot too, but that's just aesthetics. That's not really strength. I will agree with that to an extent. When it comes to strength, you normally see white athletes being the stronger ones. When it comes to world records, it's normally the white guys that are setting the world records, although the world record for bench pressing is held by a black guy right now. So There's always exceptions to the rules, just like when you look at speed events. Normally, black athletes are quicker than white athletes. I mean, I could go with that, but there's always exceptions to the rules. You have white guys who pop up, like say a Billy Joe Saunders, who's very agile, very fast, used to be, or Tyson Fury, how he used to fight before he planted his feet, was very fast, very agile. So I would say that is the norm, but that is not always the case, and it's not dictated by that. So, as far as Fury being the best boxer alive, I do agree that right now, at this moment, he is the best. I still believe that Dillian White can beat Tyson Fury, but they have to fight for me to be proven right. I've been saying it for years that Dillian White will beat Tyson Fury because stylistically, it's a horrible matchup for Tyson Fury. Horrible matchup. But outside of Dillian White, I think Tyson Fury beats all of them. Well, maybe not. Maybe Usyk can get Tyson Fury too, because Tyson Fury has been shown to struggle against shorter guys. Shorter, you have to keep it relative to where they're at. They're in a division where 6'4" is the average height. Shorter meaning below 6'4", he tends to not do as well against guys. So Usyk being 6'3" could get underneath Tyson Fury and cause him a lot of issues. Let's see. Tyson's decision to hire Sugar Hill was a total win for him. He is now harder hitting than majority of boxers. Who could imagine 2 years ago? Well, here's the thing about it, Andrew, and this is what I don't understand. Tyson Fury, I'd have to look. I think now he has 23 knockouts out of 33 fights? I think I'm right. Somebody would have to fact check me right now and just check to see if I'm right. But I want to say that he's had 23 knockouts out of 33 fights. That is not a soft punching guy. That is not a. In fact, 3 of those fights where he didn't get the knockout, he rematched them and knocked them out. The 3 rematches was McDermott, knocked him out. Chisora stopped him, and Deontay Wilder knocked him out. Every guy he's had a rematch with, he stopped. Period. Period. So I don't know where this feather-fisted Tyson Fury ever came from, because clearly the evidence goes against him being a feather-fisted fighter. He was just more defensive-based, like say, Floyd Mayweather. Not saying he did the Philly shell, but what I'm saying is Tyson Fury used to fight defensive first, not aggression first. And getting, Andrew, to your point with Sugar Hill, he's now become aggression first, defensive slickness second nature. So that is one good thing about Tyson Fury too. He is very receptive to the trainers that train him. He can pick up very quickly what's being taught and thrown at him in an adapted style to that style that they're trying to make him fight as. So he's definitely good on that aspect. But back to the strength thing though, that this right here, this comment, the problem with boxing is strength is not that big of a factor. Strength is more of a factor in, say, UFC than it is in boxing. So he had 21 knockouts. Now he has 22. I was close. And this was his 33rd fight or 32nd fight? I know I'm close. It's somewhere around 33 fights. So it might have been his 32nd, 22nd knockout. I think that's what it is. If he's had 22 knockouts now, I think this was his 32nd fight. Because I want to say it was only 10 fights that he didn't get knockouts in, which isn't bad. It's not bad at all. Not bad to be somebody with pillows for hands. But 32nd fight. So yeah, I was right. I knew it was 10. So I thought it was 23 and 33. It's 22 and 32. But here's the thing though. Really, truthfully, it's only 7 people who survived him, because 3 of those fights he had rematches with and knocked those guys out or stopped them. So truth be told, out of 32 fights, he's fought 29 different people, and out of those 29 people, he's knocked out 22. So that's really how you have to think about it and how you have to look at it. Out of 29 different fighters he's fought, he's knocked out 22 of them. So I don't see that it all being fisted. Like, only 7 people survived you, and a lot of those were earlier in his career or when he just came back from a 3-year layoff. Let's not forget about that too. So, again, to come off of Tyson Fury, because we all know how good Tyson Fury is, I still say that Dillian White beats him, but Usyk may be able to beat him too just because he struggles against short guys. He isn't a knockout artist, but that crunk style he learned recently has him fighting differently. There was a lot of headlocks and holds during the match with Wilder pretty much in all 3 fights. Yeah, that's one thing I don't like. But the referee was really good in the second round. He said Tyson Fury cut out that headlock and stuff. So he did call him on it. And Deontay Wilder, you could tell. See, this is another thing too. Deontay Wilder at 230 was getting bent over like a lawn chair, just getting bent over. Too easy. Fury leaning on him the whole time. Wilder came in at 238, and for the first half of the fight, Fury couldn't lean on him. He was standing him straight up. He was keeping Fury straight up. So there's that part too. Let me see. The conclusion about Joshua is he lost his power, not gaining too much speed and remaining the average skilled boxer. And a result, he doesn't have neither power nor speed nor technique. Yo, Andrew, that is like the summary of what I have been saying for a long time. You just summarized everything I've said about AJ. You don't take the power off the power puncher. You just don't do it, and that's what they did. Red did a better job with holds. Oh, Ref. You mean Ref did a better job? Yeah, he did do a better job, but this is what I don't understand. This is what I never get, okay? And somebody right now, please help me understand this, okay? They get these 2 men, 169, 167, 238, 277, to fight each other. Then they throw a referee in there who's maybe 5'8", 150 pounds soaking wet. What sense does that make? Why would you get a referee who looks to be about 5'8", 150 pounds soaking wet to referee 2 gigantic men? And he's supposed to step in between them and keep them clean. Like, I don't understand. At least in the UFC, you got that one dude that looks like the tallest dwarf I've ever seen with the goatee that's braided. He looks like a fucking dwarf from like a Lord of the Rings movie, but he looks big as shit. He's like a dwarf blown up. At least you got that big ass dude. Or you had Herb Dean, who's a big dude. John McCarthy, I think, was their old guy. He was a big dude. Like, I don't understand in boxing why they got these little ass petite men trying to ref heavyweights. It doesn't make sense. But I want to touch on this real fast too. I was a little impressed by seeing Wilder so mobile and fresh, even with the new weight. He gassed out much faster in the second one. Yeah, I agree with you. He gassed out really fast in the second one. In the third one, he had more endurance. He did. He looked better, in my opinion. And I was about to say something, and I just forgot it. It like, as soon as it went in my brain, it went out of my brain. Fuck, what was I gonna say? I don't remember. That's okay. We'll move past it. Let's see. Oh, this is what I was gonna say. So check this out. Here's what I don't understand. Here's what I don't get about people, okay? Listen to this. This is what I'm talking about. Like, a majority of these YouTube channels, right? These experts, and I'm not pointing fingers, that's why I'm not mentioning any names, but people that go to other channels can figure this shit out real easily, right? These idiots, okay? These idiots will say this. Deontay Wilder, He weighed too much. He was too bulky. He was too big. It sapped his energy, right? These are the same guys who praise the real big baby, Jared Anderson. Now, check this out. I believe Jared Anderson's 6'4" and 240 pounds. Now, wait a minute. Time out. You're telling me that you like a guy who is 6'4", 240 pounds, pretty lean at that 240, and that's a good weight. That's a good weight for a guy 6'4", but a guy who is 3 inches taller, who weighs less, oh, he's too heavy. I had to throw my phone down because that's how stupid it is. That's how stupid it is. People, there's something wrong with them, and nobody calls these idiots out on this shit. Like, how could you praise Jared Anderson, who's, I believe, 6'4"? I know he's 240, right? Oh yeah, he's great. I love him. He's real good. He's the perfect fighter. But yet a guy who is 3 inches taller than him and weighs less than him weighs too much. He needs to lose muscle, even though Jared Anderson carries a lot more muscle. Yeah. Let me see. Tony's reviews. That referee was of the extra small variety. He was a great ref, but he was just too small. He was too small. Not enough weight behind him. Let's see what Andrew Ruiz said. A lot of boxers fought dirty in the past. It's the ref's job to catch. He can't blame Fury for doing holds on one side so the ref can't see it. Well, here's the thing about it. I don't like that sentiment that it's the ref's job to catch the guy cheating, because at the end of the day, it's still cheating. If you have to cheat to win, do you truly win? If you can't beat somebody without cheating, is it really a legitimate win because you're cheating? I don't agree with that, because I feel like that if you're in a fight and you have to do MMA rules to win the fight in boxing, you should be disqualified. If you've been a guy like Tyson Fury choked Deontay Wilder so many times in that second fight, it made me not like Tyson Fury. A fight that he was dominating, he still was bending him over and he would choke him. Kept choking him. Nobody said anything. They wanted to, instead of speaking about real cheating that went on, they wanted to go on with this bullshit glove gate. They wanted to go on with egg weight, spike water, all this shit that never even happened. And the shit that did happen, nobody even talks about. Why? Because the majority of these people, they don't even see it because they've never fought before. They're just chasing the paycheck. That's all it is. And I don't understand how these sheep follow these shepherds who are only leading them to money for themselves. The sheep don't get nothing. But let's read these comments. If Wilder had a better engine for this fight, he would have given Fury more trouble. So here's the thing, Mark Anthony. I don't know how good or bad Wilder's engine really was, because when you get beat up, it takes the energy out of you. You could box all day for 12 rounds, right? You could be fresh. You could be in there sparring, go 12 rounds. But that doesn't mean that when you start getting beat up, you'll still be able to go 12 rounds. So when Wilder was in camp, he very well may have had great cardio, great endurance. He may have been sparring for 12, 14, 16, 18, 20 rounds. Who knows? He could have been sparring, or he might not have been doing anything cardio. We don't know. But what I'm saying is, let's say that he could go 12 rounds in sparring. That doesn't mean when it comes to a fight, you can last 12 rounds. Because once you start getting beat up, it's a whole different thing. Once you start having to think a lot, it wears you out. Mental fatigue can make your body tired as well. And when you're having to think a lot because you're getting beat up, and now this guy is pressuring you, and now you're backing up, sparring doesn't really relate to that. When fighters spar, especially world champions, they're normally the ones that come out ahead on sparring, because there's a unspoken thing that you can't beat up the champion. You cannot hurt this guy going into this fight for all this money. So although sparring is good, sparring is not relatable to a real fight. It's just not. We've seen too many times where guys who spar say, I got the better of this guy. And then they get in there with that guy and they get the living shit beat out of them. Because sparring does not translate to a real fight. That's why when I see things like Teofimo Lopez gets dropped in sparring, I'm like, so the fuck what? I don't care. What was Tio doing before he got dropped? Did he just run 10 miles? Did he just spar 3 people before he fought that 4th person that dropped him? Sparring to me, it doesn't really translate over. So again, Wilder may have been able to go 12 rounds in camp, but once he started getting beat up, it changes. Let me see. I was amongst those people who firstly thought Wilder was too heavy, but the time has proven that weight is usually a good thing. Now I'm absolutely convinced. Tony, I saw your preview on Helena's first babyface. It was really funny. I hate that dude. Oh man, I hate Old Nacky. Like, let me tell you something. Old Nacky is so bad. What did he do? What did he do? The minute he was getting his ass whooped, he started trying to hit Hellenius in the nuts. Like, did y'all see the fight? Like, this dude just started just throwing low blow after low blow after low blow after low blow after low blow. Got a point taken, then kept throwing low blows and got himself disqualified. Fat old roly-poly, sloppy-looking self. Like that dude. Ugh. I hate this dude because he has the audacity to say he has a baby face. Bruh. What type of baby looks like him? The only thing that matches with him and a baby is his bald ass head. That's it. But moving past Old Nacky, because I'm glad that this dude is trash. I don't give a fuck. Just because he calls himself babyface, I want him to lose every time. I do not like the dude. Old Nacky is one of them dudes where I'll fight him in real life. Like, I don't even give a fuck. His fat ass, we around the same size. I'll fight you in real life, my dude. I'll really fuck up that ugly ass, old ass face you got. Baby face. Somebody needs to slap him and be like, look, man, just call yourself old man. Like, when you see him in the ring, you can't tell me he doesn't look like a bag of shit. He looks like a plastic bag and somebody shit in it, and that's his body. Like, I remember whenever I was watching, I randomly caught Old Nacky versus Charles Martin, right? And I caught it around the 7th round when Old Nacky was getting his ass whooped in the later part of that fight. I hadn't seen the beginning of it. I didn't know Charles Martin was behind. But I looked at it, I'm like, why the fuck is Charles Martin fighting some 40, 50-year-old man? And then I found out it was Old Nacky whenever they zoomed in and I could see who it was. I literally thought Old Nacky was a 40, 50-year-old man when I saw him from a distance because the way he's built, the way he looks when he was fighting Charles Martin. And that fight wasn't yesterday. So let's go back to Andy Ruiz. Fury will remember as the best in our generation. He has a very impressive resume if you consider the boxers he's defeated. Wilder just didn't have the gas to last in there for 12 rounds with the best. Well, that's the thing about it. He didn't have the gas to last in there with the best, Tyson Fury. But that doesn't mean he doesn't have the gas tank to last with, I think Dillian White beats him, but that doesn't mean he couldn't last against Dillian White. Usyk, I think he can beat Usyk. That doesn't mean he doesn't have the gas to last against Anthony Joshua, Joe Joyce, etc. He just doesn't have the ability to beat Tyson Fury, but that's just it. Some fighters have other fighters' numbers, and just because one fighter has your number doesn't make you a bad fighter. In fact, Deontay Wilder, in my opinion, has made Tyson Fury in that third fight look worse than everybody Tyson Fury has fought outside of maybe Steve Cunningham. And even the Steve Cunningham fight was a much younger Fury, a less experienced Fury. And to me, Cunningham only had his moments. He floored Tyson Fury. He had a few moments where he caught him with flurries and combos here and there. But really, truthfully, Fury was winning that fight way before he knocked Cunningham out. Cunningham can come up with all the excuses he won't. But even with the knockdown, if that fight would have went 12 rounds to the scorecard, Fury was out working him. He was beating him. So, again, I think Deontay Wilder, out of all the guys he's fought, has made him look worse. And then I have to think to myself, I have been very critical over who Deontay Wilder has fought. He has not always fought the best. He hasn't fought a lot of top tens, but then when you see him fight a guy like Tyson Fury, in the way that he fought him and made Tyson Fury look the way he looked, I have to think to myself, maybe Wilder's not that bad. Maybe he's actually pretty good. Maybe if we see him in there with the other top 10 guys, he stops him. Maybe he's a lot better because he made Fury look bad. And to do that against the best of our generation, as you just wrote, is impressive. Because I can promise you this, the Anthony Joshua I saw fight Usyk, that I saw fight Pulev, Andy Ruiz, he ain't doing nothing with Fury. Fury's going to walk right through him. Fury will knock AJ out faster than he did Wilder. Fury will knock AJ out within the first 6 to 8 rounds. That's my prediction. Unless AJ comes revamped, bigger, heavier, stronger against Usyk in this rematch, if AJ stays the path he's going, he won't make it 8 rounds with Tyson Fury. I can guarantee that. As precise as my predictions are, I can guarantee you AJ doesn't last 8 rounds. That's something. So let me go here. What did I think about Sanchez versus Ajagba? I forget whose panel I was on, but I want to say it might have been H Money's. I'm not sure. They brought up this fight, and I like Ajagba. Ajagba was one of my favorite heavyweight boxers, and I knew he was going to lose. I told him that I didn't think he could beat Frank Sanchez. I thought it was a dangerous fight for him because of Sanchez's ability to be a counterpuncher. Like most Cubans are very good, even when they're shorter from the outside, at counterpunching. And Ajagba has shown that his defense gets lazy. And you can't have a lazy defense against a counterpuncher. That is the worst combination to have a lazy defense against a counterpuncher. And I thought there would be more action in the fight. I didn't think it would be as slow paced as it was. I thought there'd be a lot more punches thrown. But I had a feeling that Sanchez was going to pull it out. Let's go down. Sanchez showed his experience against the Jagba. All 3 of those undercard fights had similarity to the main event fight, Fury versus Wilder. Yeah, they kind of did. Andrew, I was still wondering, why do you grade Dillian Whyte so high? I rate him well, but I am not sure he has a chance against Tyson Fury. So, look, I'm going to tell you why, Andrew. I'm going to tell you why. So, Dillian Whyte lost to Anthony Joshua, right? But when Dillian Whyte fought Anthony Joshua, if I can balance my phone, hold on. Let's take the charger off. So, when Dillian Whyte first fought Anthony Joshua, I had their skills like this. We had Dillian Whyte here, Anthony Joshua way up here, right? So that's how I saw them. But, however, moving past that fight, I have watched Dillian Whyte's skill do like this improvements where I have watched AJ slowly rise. Now, if you look, Dillian Whyte, to me today, is better than what AJ has improved to. And that's why I believe Dillian Whyte will beat Anthony Joshua if they was to fight today. Now, as far as Tyson Fury goes, I just think stylistically it's a nightmare. Tyson Fury, when he has looked his worst, in my opinion, is against guys who can stick to him like glue, who can land hooks to the body, which he will, and are too strong to let. Fury cannot bend Dillian Whyte over. Fury cannot manhandle Dillian Whyte like he did Deontay Wilder in the second half of this trilogy and in the rematch, the whole fight. Fury can't do that to Dillian Whyte. Dillian Whyte's going to come in around 255 to 260, and he trains for power. So there's no way Tyson Fury's going to lean on him, even though he's shorter. Again, Dillian Whyte is shorter. I've said earlier that I think Tyson Fury get around the 6'4" and below range, he doesn't look as well. When guys get overly short for heavyweights of today, he has issues. I think the body work, I think Dillian Whyte getting low, and Dillian Whyte's ability to stick to people like glue is going to cause Tyson Fury a lot of issues. The only punch that has ever caused Dillian White problems is the uppercut. That's it. We saw it against Joshua when he fought him. We saw it against when he got dropped against Rivas, who is Jean-Claude Van Damme's illegitimate son. You can't tell me that Oscar Rivas and Jean-Claude Van Damme don't look alike. You cannot tell me. I wish I was on my computer. I bring up pictures side by side right now. I'm telling y'all, Jean-Claude Van Damme is Oscar Rivas' real dad. Don't care what nobody says. But moving past that, whenever Jean-Claude Rivas knocked Dillian White down, it was with the uppercut. When Pulev slept Dillian White, it was the uppercut. That is the chink in his armor, is the uppercut. It's the only punch that I've ever seen actually hurt him. Now, people could point to Joseph Parker dropping him, and I would say no, not a legitimate drop, because Dillian White in that 12th round was dead to the world. Strong breeze could have blown him over. It wasn't the punch that actually knocked him down. It was the exhaustion. So I wouldn't say that that punch is what knocked him over. I would just say that he was exhausted. It is the uppercut. Tyson Fury, while he does throw uppercuts, normally only throws uppercuts when he's clinching people. He normally holds them, pulls them down, or puts his glove behind their head, which is illegal, and he throws up little short uppercuts. He did it to Wilder in this last trilogy fight. If you watch it, he was holding Wilder and comes up with short uppercuts. That's really the only time we see him throw uppercuts. He really doesn't do it from range and lead with uppercuts. So being that that is Dillian White's chink in the armor, and I know that Tyson Fury doesn't do that often, and being that I know that he struggles against shorter guys like Dillian White, not saying 6'4" is short because it's taller than me, but in comparison, when it's relative to what these guys are at the heavyweight division nowadays, 6'4" is short. He's short for a heavyweight. His body work and the hooks to the side. See, Tyson Fury's got a lot of protection. He's got a lot of blubber over his abdomens. Hitting them with straight punches like Deontay Wilder did, ones and twos to the gut, while they may slow him down if you could land enough, they're not as effective as if you come behind his side and land hooks. And Dillian White is known for that left hook to the body. That is something that he is notoriously known for, the body snatcher. And I just think that when Dillian White starts getting off those hooks on Tyson Fury, he's going to have some issues. And Dillian White's not going to get off of him. And I don't think Tyson Fury can beat him stylistically. Hold on, guys. I'm trying to see something. Let's go past this. Let's reviews other channels. Let me see. Other channels feel as though because Tyson Fury beat Wilder that it somehow translates to other. No, it doesn't at all. Negative. I'll say it again, and I'll keep saying it. Wait, why is this not muted? I'll say it one more time, and I'm about to get off, guys, because there's a show on TV that I like to watch called Creep Show on AMC. It's horrible acting, B level at best, but I like it because it's an anthology, and I like shitty sci-fi, and this is very shitty sci-fi. And I'm missing it right now. So anyways, let me come back to these comments real fast, then I'm going to get off. Other channels feel as though Tyson Fury, I already read that, because Tyson Fury beat Wilder, other heavyweights could beat Wilder. What I was saying before I went off on a tangent is this. The Wilder that I saw in there, in the trilogy with Tyson Fury on Saturday night would have beat Anthony Joshua. He might have beat my boy Dillian White. I don't know. I think Dillian White could get Wilder out of there. I've always said that. I've remained over almost 4 years now. I've said that I believe Dillian White can beat Deontay Wilder, but the Deontay Wilder that came into the ring that I saw last night, my eyes, how he was fighting in the first couple of rounds, I really do not know if these other top guys could beat him. Maybe a Joe Joyce because he's just got a fucking chin that can't be cracked. But outside of him, I don't know. I really do not know. Andy Ruiz, my prediction for AJ versus Usyk 2 will not come out till I see them on the scale. I have become a lot more accurate when I see them on the scale. Case in point to this was when Earl Smith Jr. fought Kell Brook. I made a prediction before they got on the scale. When I saw Kell Brook on the scale. I knew he was going to lose, but it was too late. I had already put out the prediction video. Kell Brook would look weight drained horribly bad, and he lost. I picked him to win. So again, I wait till they get on the scale. When I see the condition that AJ's in, then I'll break down the fight and how I see the fight going based off of their weight and how they're going to approach it. Usyk's promoter said Wilder Fury, that both are easy for Usyk. I disagree. So I will say this. Out of all the heavyweights, I think Deontay Wilder is the only one that for sure can beat Usyk. Tyson Fury may be able to beat him because of his size, but I think Usyk gives Tyson Fury a lot of troubles. I believe that Deontay Wilder is the only heavyweight 100% can beat Usyk, and I only believe it because of the rate of speed that Wilder can deliver punches. You got to understand, Usyk can't lean on Wilder like Tyson Fury did. Usyk can't use his weight to get Wilder tired like Tyson Fury did. Also, Usyk's got to get in range to hit Wilder, whereas Fury can be out of range and still hit Wilder because he's longer, he's taller. There's a lot more danger that comes when Usyk has to fight him, and I don't think Usyk is fast enough to get out of the way of Deontay Wilder's punches. And if Deontay Wilder can drop a guy like Tyson Fury, 277, 6'9", what's going to happen when he hits a 6'3", 220-pound man? Let's go here. I'm trying to get off so I can watch this. Ajagba seemed too timid. He did. He was very timid in that fight because he was getting hit by counter punches. We know who Jean-Claude Van Damme is. Yeah, Oscar Rivas knows too. He said, "You're the young in here." Let me tell you something. That don't matter because I'm gonna tell you this right now. When I think about inspirational guys, and I know I look small because I got on the big shirt. You know what I'm saying? It take a triple X shirt to make me look little now. But we can drop this and look real big on camera like I have on my last couple of streams. But anyways, here's the deal. If I move past anything, right? The first person that I ever saw that made me want to fight, because I fought way before I boxed, was Jean-Claude Van Damme. Bloodsport, Kickboxer. Like, those two movies made me want to fight. Way before Mike Tyson, Muhammad Ali, any of them. If I would have continued and fought and went pro, Roy Jones Jr., my favorite boxer of all time. I think Roy Jones Jr. is the best boxer, prime for prime. I don't think anybody beats Roy Jones Jr. in his prime that's ever boxed. If you could shrink him and blow him up and make Roy Jones any height, any weight that you could, prime for prime, I think Roy Jones beats everybody. Favorite boxer. But even Roy Jones did not inspire me to fight. The first person who ever inspired me to want to fight was Jean-Claude Van Damme. Period. Jean-Claude Van Damme, for the longest, had me trying to do splits. I'm talking about even into my 20s, I was trying to do splits. And one time I came very close, and it was stupid. I was in some flip-flops in the bathroom, and there was a little bit of water, and I went down a little bit too far, and I got stuck, and I was like, oh! And somebody finally walked into the bathroom while I was stuck, and I was like, push me over. They was looking at me like I was crazy, and they just touched my back. I fell over, and I could get up. Whew. But that split happened because of Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, I always wanted to have my shirt off and do the little pose with my leg in between two chairs like this. But I can't split like that. But Jean-Claude Van Damme, to me, was that guy. Like, when you talk about, I love Jean-Claude Van Damme. Like, I'm telling you, I don't care. If Jean-Claude Van Damme would have never got on all the drugs that he got on and blackballed out of Hollywood, he'd still be a premier actor. Like, I like the dude. Well, the good explanation, White definitely has a shot against everybody. LOL. Besides, Chuck Norris is the man. Chuck Norris. Because the eyes of the Ranger are upon you. And anything you do, he's going to see. When you're in Texas, look behind you. because that's where the Rangers gonna be. We over here talking about Walker, Texas Ranger. Bruh. I knew it. You're another fan. Yeah, man, the leg splits on the 2 semi trucks. But on that note, I'm about to kill the stream. I appreciate y'all coming through. I've already missed 13 minutes of my show. So y'all have a good night, and thank y'all for joining.